So I'd like to preface this video with an apology for my delay in making it. As you may or may not know, besides being a full-time astrologer, I am also a novelist and screenwriter and writing coach through Ninth House Books, which I am also the founder. And after I made my last video, I was finishing up the third round of editing on my now published novel titled Vulture. And needless to say that this was quite a daunting and time-consuming task, because this novel is a little over 65,000 words. The novel is available on Amazon, link in my bio, and in a couple of weeks it will be also available in all major book retailers worldwide. I am also working on making it a screenplay, an audiobook, and currently translating it into Spanish as well. So I've got my hands full for the next few months. Now, on top of that, I've also been carrying out intense research on astrological house systems for probably the last 6 months or so, from which some changes are being now implemented into my work to further refine my predictive work, which I am glad to say is already quite good, but there's always room for improvement. And with a natal Pluto in the 9th in Scorpio, I am quite fond of research in and of itself. But I digress. So, as promised, here's my video on Pluto in Aquarius as a planet in sign ingress and what it signifies for us collectively at this point in time. Now, I plan to divide this into 3 videos. This first one is just on Pluto and its significations, both natal and mundane. And then the second video will be about Aquarius, and the third video I should explain the actual ingress signification. Now, maybe if I have enough time, I'll make a 4th video in the future, further refining and expanding on that basic knowledge. But let's first start off with this Pluto video. So, what does Pluto signify as a planet? Well, for starters, Pluto is synonymous with the principle of metamorphosis. And that's probably the most important principle that you can memorize, what it stands for and what it signifies. Pluto is associated with Hades, the lord of the underworld in Greek mythology, and Pluto is actually its Roman parallel name, and as such it rules everything that is underground or buried, or anything that takes refuge underground. Hence, it tends to have a very strong connection with death. But because it is the principle of metamorphosis, it also connects and signifies rebirth. All things that are buried and then after some time they emerge transformed. We can say then that the principle of storytelling, for example, or story structure, is very Plutonian in nature, because all good stories involve the transformation of a character, its death and its rebirth. Also, all seeds have a Plutonian nature or acquire a Plutonian nature when they are hidden or buried, because in that process they are changed and then they emerge as something different, a fruit-bearing tree, for example. All hidden wealth is also signified by Pluto, especially if it's found in a cave or in a mine. Basically anything that is incubated for a time and then emerges changed. Think of the phoenix that rises from the ashes, or caterpillars that become butterflies. If you really think about it, we could also say that these principles connect to the metaphysical overarching principle of karma. Pluto rules death and regeneration. Therefore, when it comes to animals with Plutonian natures, I think it's very important that you think about snakes, butterflies, crocodiles, lizards, turtles, and vultures, because these are all animals which deal with death and regeneration on a daily basis, from shedding their skins to regrowing limbs to eating dead animals. So, what else could we deduce from this information? Well, Pluto rules corpses, buried treasure, therefore it also rules cryptocurrency, and it rules sex, but most specifically the internal sexual organs. All actions that must be carried out in secret or that require research are also Plutonian. Therefore, Pluto also rules undercover police, detectives, spies, organized crime, and secret societies. And while Jupiter may be the planet of wealth, it is no match for the kind of wealth that Pluto can give, because Pluto deals with the transformation of wealth. In its nature, it is very similar to Rahu, the North Node, which tends to amplify whatever it touches, for good or for ill. The only difference being that Pluto tends to act with a more transformational intent than Rahu, because Rahu tends to lean more towards a personal power and a gain for its own sake and its own satisfaction. Pluto tends to generate power for a specific purpose, usually a very subconscious purpose, because it is hidden from the conscious awareness of the native. Pluto can make you, let's say, super poor for the first 30 years of your life, and then make you super rich from one day to the next, or vice versa. While traditionally Scorpio was thought to be ruled by Mars, which does still work, and in my personal opinion, Mars should be thought of as a co-ruler of Scorpio. And as a side note, I've seen this work out in research, especially when the native was born at night. Pluto is most definitely the ruler of Scorpio, and there is certainly a strong affinity with Pluto, and 8th house matters. It is what it is. If you study charts diligently and do enough research, you will see how Pluto is most definitely the ruler of Scorpio. Now, if you do the same research without Pluto, you will end up noticing that Mars takes the job. But when Pluto is present, it takes the lead. Now, moving on to Aquarius in my next video. Until then, follow for more, and I'll talk to you soon.